So this week's podcast guest needs no introduction because it's Leah Turner. We've got Leah Turner coming to talk to us about business ownership, about her own career journey, and of course about LinkedIn and the incredible journey she's had on that platform to get way over 100,000 followers in a very, very short period of time. And also about how the businesses that we think we're creating aren't necessarily the businesses that we end up in. So we go really deep with Leah into all these subjects. As always, she's open, she's funny, she's charismatic, and she's really generous. She's generous with her tips, she's generous with her ideas, and she talks a lot about finding joy in your career and following it. So I hope you all enjoy this conversation. I certainly did and took away a number of things from it. So without further ado, let's get to work and hear from Leah Turner.
You're listening to the Career Jump podcast. Insights, interviews, and success stories to inspire and give you the edge when you make your next career jump. Hosted by your career concierge, Andrew MacAskill.
Hello, welcome back to the Executive Career Jump podcast. I'm your host, Andrew MacAskill. Delighted today to be joined by Leah Turner. How are you doing, Leah?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Really good to speak to you finally. Obviously been following you online for quite a while. And yeah, Leah's the absolute queen of LinkedIn at the moment. We'll get on to some tips on the platform shortly. But she also champions the underdog a lot. And I want to talk to you a bit about that as well, because I think you're being really brave with some of the things that you're tackling and are having a great impact. But for the people who are listening who maybe haven't come across you before, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and your journey and the type of stuff you get involved with?
So I accidentally sort of happened across LinkedIn just over 2 years ago now. I was running a transcription business. So I did transcription for doctors, building surveyors, HR people, typing audio documents into text documents. And I just wanted to grow my business a little bit. My son was going to be starting school in about 6 months' time, and it was sort of a good opportunity to grow the business a little bit more. I was going to have a bit more time to put more energy into it. And I had one of those emails saying, this many people have been looking at your profile. And I thought, oh, LinkedIn, that might be an interesting way to find new clients. Let's have a look. And I logged on and went, oh God, no, this is not for me. And didn't really give much more thought to it until I got another one of those emails. And then I started exploring it a little bit more, posting, getting no response. And then I sort of went, well, I can't keep pretending to be corporate, because I sort of did the corporate posts. And I just started being funny and silly and interacting with people and just posting what I wanted to post rather than trying to impress people. And it kind of sparked a avalanche, and my profile grew and grew and grew. And then when COVID hit, my business was quite badly affected, unfortunately, but I'd had so much success in growing so many connections and getting so many leads on LinkedIn at that point that so many people were coming to me for advice saying, you're doing really well. How do I do it? So I started charging for one-to-ones, and I didn't charge very much. It was just to sort of tide me over through COVID, and it became my main hustle. And I was fully booked, and my following kept growing and growing, and my posts were getting bigger and bigger, and the leads just kept coming. And I started creating products to help other people, content prompt books, a digital course. And it's been just under 18 months now since I first started LinkedIn training, and I've trained over 1,000 people. I've generated nearly £200,000 in revenue, and I'm a lone mum, so I'm going to be able to buy a house for me and my son soon. And yeah, it's been a total game changer that I'm able to support smaller businesses and bigger businesses, all sorts of businesses from all sorts of industries. And I'm loving doing it because I get to do what's fun for me, creating content and meeting new people and making a good impact on helping people.
Well, look, congratulations, first and foremost. I know none of that has come without hard work and consistency, but I also think what people underrate in terms of you and other people that are doing well on the platform is the craft as well. I think you're a really good storyteller. I think that's one of your superpowers. I think you tell really good stories. Where do you get the kind of inspiration for the stories that you're sharing regularly with your audience?
My real life, in the majority, like things that I've encountered, people that I've encountered over my life. I think I come at things from a storyteller's perspective. Quite a lot of the time when something happens in my life, the first thought in my head was, or is, something along the lines of, oh God, this is awful, but it's going to make a great post. and I sort of think about how I can word it and make it actually something that's useful and entertaining, or people will draw inspiration from. I've always been the kind of person that if something negative happens, if I can turn it into something that creates something positive from it. So if I go through a negative experience, that negativity hasn't got anywhere to go. But if I can turn it into something useful to help other people, or to inspire other people, or to make other people feel seen, then that negativity is turned into something positive, and then I can process it better and just move on. So I think it's a way for me to neutralize experiences or put some power behind making them do something good.
Yeah. So it's like cathartic. You're getting it out of your head and onto the platform, basically.
Yeah. It's a way for me to just go, okay, well, something crappy happened. If I make it into something positive, either PR or it attracts attention to my business and makes money, I can then, it's had its use then, and I can just sort of leave it behind me.
Love it. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. So obviously today, very well-known LinkedIn expert and marketing expert, but what's been your journey to get to that point from a career perspective? We're always interested in, like, where did this start out for you? What was your first job? And like, run me through the Leah Turner CV.
Not probably what anyone expects. My first job was working in a pub when I was 14, and I begged my mum to allow me to work. And I sort of did waitressing jobs. I worked behind the counter in a post office with people. Then I worked in a cafe. I dropped out of school at 16. I was doing very well at school, but I was not in a mentally good place. So I dropped out at 16 and went and worked in a cafe. And I worked for property developers as a secretary, did a few temping jobs, and then was an office manager for building consultants. And I kind of learned a lot about running a business because I was office manager, secretary, receptionist. I just ran their lives for nearly 10 years, traveled the world a bit, and then wanted to make some extra money and started my transcription business as my side hustle. And within 6 months, I was earning double what I was earning in my full-time job. So for about a year, I was working 2 full-time jobs, and then I just couldn't keep it going. And I quit my main job and carried on working my transcription business. And then I had a baby, and that business sort of kept me going while I was a new mum, because I'm a lone mum. So it was typing late at night with my baby strapped to my chest, working all hours that I possibly could. Baby slept, I worked, and that was it until I started doing LinkedIn. So I don't have a marketing background. I just marketed my small business in any way that I could, but I've always been very good at reading people, and I think it's fair to say I'm quite a charismatic person, and I'm very emotionally intelligent. So when it came to LinkedIn, it was using my ability to tell entertaining stories and get creative with my images and with my words, and how to interact with people, and sort of all of those skills that I naturally had combined with my professional skills kind of serendipitously came together, and I discovered a natural marketing ability, I think would be reasonably fair to say.
Very fair to say, yeah. Don't play it down. You've definitely got a natural marketing ability. And I think it's amazing, like, it's the whole join the dots backwards thing. Like, so many people try and plan out their career, but if you're kind of intuitively feeling what's working well, doubling down on your strengths at different points, like, all of those steps have led to where you are now. I mean, I can't think of a better starting point than being a 14-year-old in a pub in terms of being a social media influencer now. Like, there's actually probably quite a lot of skills you picked up there that help.
Yeah, I think I've always been the kind of person that doesn't learn from books. I learn by doing, and I absorb things around me. And one of the things that I love about LinkedIn is that I'm surrounded by new information, and everything that I read and every person I interact with, I'm taking something from them and I'm learning from them. And so I've been like a sponge the last 2 years. It feels like my head's exploding with how much I've learned, but I absorb it all and I put it into practice, and I see how people respond to things, and I do more things like that. And I almost have become a puppeteer in how I can control my audience, but not in a negative way. I always use it for good. I'm not manipulative in an unkind way, but it's completely taken me by surprise. I never thought I had a talent for anything other than typing and running an office. And then I was like, oh, okay, I am actually quite good at marketing, and hopefully I've got a future career within that somewhere along the line. I don't think I'll be LinkedIn coaching forever, but certainly would love to be involved in marketing.
Yeah, but you've gone from bringing other people's thoughts to life through words to bringing your own thoughts to life through words, basically, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I love being able to do that myself. Like I've always been creative. I loved art at school. I did huge art projects, and now I found an actual way to make money by channeling my creativity, which is the dream, really.
Totally. When you left that permanent job where you'd been for, I think you said 10 years, is that right?
Yeah.
How hard was that?
Oh, it's horrible.
Was it?
Yeah. I loved my job and I loved my bosses. I loved the people that I worked with. They were a family to me. I know we're not supposed to say that, but they really were. They'd supported me through some really difficult times and always been in my corner and really, really, really encouraged me to start my own business. I cried when I handed my resignation in. I didn't want to leave, but I knew that I had a viable business and I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I didn't pursue it. I couldn't keep going. I was doing 90-hour weeks. I was getting up at 6:30 in the morning, doing an hour of work, driving an hour to work, doing a full day, driving an hour home, having half an hour to eat, and then working till 1 or 2 in the morning. I was killing myself with how much work I was doing. So something had to give. And you can't spend that many hours working on your own project and then give it up. I wanted that freedom to be my own boss. And it surprised me because I never thought I would want to be my own boss. So it was a bit of a surprise that I chose that avenue, but I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't.
Although, albeit the business you thought you were setting up turned out to be a very different business, as is often the way.
Yeah, my side hustle became my main hustle. Then I started another side hustle, which became my main hustle. So right. Yeah, I just need another one now that makes even more money.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's coming. Do you think you could ever work for somebody else again? Or do you think you're unemployable now?
I think it would depend on the boss. I think I would be employable again as long as I had a lot of freedom within my role. They were employing me based on my own, I would want to have extreme flexibility with working, and I would want to be able to have complete control over my schedule. I wouldn't say never, but it's probably unlikely.
Because you're going to get offers. It's going to be interesting to see.
It's weird. I mean, no, I have had a few people sort of wanting to talk to me about being social media manager and things like that, but it wouldn't pay enough.
No, it wouldn't. But if it did pay enough, it would be an interesting discussion. I still battle with it now in terms of, I know deep down I want to be doing my own thing, but when someone dangles that safety net, it's difficult to turn it away, isn't it?
As long as if I was able to still do some stuff freelance on my own, it's not something I wouldn't say no. I would always hear an offer out. But if it was in like a creative agency, I could be tempted. I could be tempted for a good salary and for security for sure, especially as I'm hoping to get like a mortgage and things like that. But it would be very tricky after this many years, and they would have to bear with me because I'm not very good at being told what to do. And I think my old bosses would say that exact same thing, even though I worked for them for 10 years, I was pretty much in charge and I called the shots, and they just did as they were told a lot of the time. So yeah, I'd have to have a very understanding boss.
I think the right ones don't want to hire people that want to be told what to do anyway. So that would qualify them out. You touched a little bit there in terms of some of the hours you were working and that kind of stuff. You've also posted on the topic of burnout a few times and trying to get the right balance. I mean, to some extent, I think in what you do, the balance is almost impossible in terms of the word balance, like blend might be a better word or something like that. But tell me a little bit about your experience with work burnout and what you think you're going to do to make sure that you don't burn out, and how you're going to self-care as you go through everything you're going through.
Pre-COVID, I went on holiday quite often. So I would save every spare penny that I had. And we were a low income family. So it was literally every spare penny would go towards a holiday. And I would work 3 months solid, working my arse off. And then I'd go away for a week and have adventures with my son in Costa Rica or Thailand or Africa or wherever. And we'd go on these big adventures. And that was always like my blowout, if you like. COVID obviously changed that a lot. So I think that's why I've ended up going towards burnout, is because I've just kept going and going, and I've had a kid at home for long periods of time and trying to juggle him and 2 dogs and business is very different now because I have hundreds of people on a daily basis trying to get my attention and speak to me, and it's been quite a different experience from sat in my office with headphones typing on my own for 10 hours a day. So I am trying, I hired a PA and she's helping with a lot of the bits and pieces that were overwhelming me. That's definitely helped. She's amazing. I've also I've started taking antidepressants because I have anxiety. So that's actually helping me to be a little bit less anxious and prioritize things a bit better and clearing the sort of fog in my brain. But I've also got ADHD. So trying to focus on one thing for a long period of time is quite tricky unless I'm really interested. So I end up with lots of things that I've started and then going, oh, I can't deal with them all, and getting overwhelmed, and then not sleeping because I'm worrying about them. So I'm definitely not somebody who's an expert or has figured it out yet. I'm trying to not answer messages and emails at the weekends anymore. And I'm actually doing quite well at that, and dealing with things when I get back to work on a Monday, and time blocking a bit better. It's still very much a work in progress. I'm getting better, but it's small changes a little bit at a time rather than trying to change everything at once, because I just won't stick to it if I do that.
Sleep is the one, I reckon.
I don't sleep very well.
Me neither.
No.
I think that is the one, like, because that tends to be almost like the first domino that then everything else goes. Like,
Yeah.
if you sleep well, you're showing up with better energy, you'll tend to eat better, you tend to have more energy to go out,
and I'm so much more creative when I've slept well.
Way more, because your mind's not got fog in it. Your relationships are better when you're not tired as well, with children, friends, whoever else. So sleep's the one. If you work out how to solve that, please let me know. I've tried everything from CBD oil to meditation to everything, and I find it so hard to not wake up at 3-4 a.m. I just find that really hard.
I do that as well. I wake up between like 2:30 and 3:30, and then I really struggle to get back to sleep. I put like quiet, calming music on Alexa, and that's about all I manage.
Yeah. Well, if you can solve that next. Hello, who's that we're saying hello to?
Roosters.
Hey,
there's a dog out the back that's barking, and they can hear him in the distance, and they're now trying to reply to him.
Very good.
I've got one hand on each dog's ear trying to get them to be quiet while we talk.
That is good plate
That's
spinning.
why my arms are moving.
Cool. Okay. Well, if you can solve our sleep issues next, that'd be amazing. So let me know once you've done that.
That'll be my next side hustle.
Hey, everybody. Sorry to interrupt the podcast, but I wanted to tell you very quickly about how Executive Career Jump can help end your career misery. So when you hit our website, there's 3 different ways that our digital resources can help you. For a start, if you're looking to jump in to a new role, we've got the premier online job search course that you're going to find anywhere. There's a number of different memberships to help you understand what you want and how to go and get it in this current environment. So we're here to help you if you want a new career. We've also got a section if you want to jump up in your career. And so this is all about our online leadership hub, which is a platform full of content, includes 2 meetups per quarter and a whole thriving community of leaders trying to become the best leaders they can be. Go and check that out too. And the third area in our website and the other digital course that might help you is our business launcher course. So we've created the business launcher program that we wish we had when we were setting up on their own. So if you've decided to jump off of the employment stream and start up on your own, make sure you head over and check that out too. You can find all of these resources, a bunch of free content, links to previous podcasts and more at execcareerjump.com. That's execcareerjump.com. Now, back to the pod. So business ownership, pros and cons for other people considering going their own route?
Pros is there you learn so much. And when it goes well, your confidence in who you are and your ability just soars. When you see clients that you work with and they're happy and you've helped them do something that they couldn't do before and you've solved a problem, my confidence in my own ability and intelligence and potential has skyrocketed in the last couple of years. I would say the negatives are, it's just the weight of the responsibility and that anxiety of, oh God, I haven't signed up a client for a couple of weeks. Is my whole business going to collapse? Was I crazy to do this? That constant imposter syndrome, and that the financial pressures, and doing so much on your own to start with until you get it off the ground and you've got enough clients, is that period of having to manage your accounts and all your admin and all your emails and getting all the tech set up. And it's just such a lot, especially juggling it on top of home life. And especially if you've got a business, got a job as well that you're running. But it's worth it when you get it off the ground. And I would always say to people, if they have an urge to start their own business, do it. I think everybody should experience it if they've got that urge to, because there's a real thrill attached to being an entrepreneur. It's not glamorous, but there's a real thrill of being able to just do it yourself. just be completely self-sufficient. It's like being a mum growing your baby and then feeding it yourself. You're like, I did that. My body did that. I did that all on my own. I grew a human and I nurtured it and I made it into a fully functioning human being. Is that satisfaction that's very similar on the entrepreneurial journey, is you did it by yourself, and that independence of, and all that money is yours. I mean, it's mostly the tax man's, but that money is, you're not handing it over to your boss and just doing it for, every hour has a tangible amount of money attached to it, which makes you want to work harder and sort of gets you out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I think you've hit some amazing points in there. But first of all, I think when you're running your own business, you're either going to have anxiety around not enough revenue or anxiety around delivery. There's never the perfect blend, is there? Like I literally go from worried that we're going to go out of business to not knowing how on earth we're going to be able to deliver for everybody. It never flattens out. You never have the right amount of people. It just doesn't, it's never happened.
Yeah. That's what worries me. Like if I was to grow my business, there's been so many people that said to me, well, why don't you start a content agency? Why don't you do this? I'm like, oh, I just don't know if I want that responsibility of having clients and staff, like having staff that I have to deliver for, like I have to bring the clients and I have to provide them work. It's a lot of pressure. So I haven't decided whether that's something I want to pursue yet. There's very much, I'm a do something because you love it kind of person. I'm one of these kinds of people that I don't do this for the money. The money's obviously lovely and it's providing security for me and my son. And a lot of people won't believe me when I say that. But for me, I won't do something if I won't enjoy it. So I don't work with people that I'm not going to enjoy working with. I haven't created a mastermind because I don't really want to work like on a long-term basis with people. I don't do social media content creation for people because actually it's not something that I really want to do at the moment. When I do want to do it, that's when I'll do it. I'm just very strong-minded in it's got to bring me joy. And if it doesn't, I just know I won't do it. And I won't be able to fulfill what I'm promising. So for me, I always have to follow what brings me joy first. And that's secondary.
And that freedom to be able to do that is the reward of business ownership. That's the counter side to the anxiety that we were just spoken about. Yeah. It's that freedom, right? Yeah. Choice. Yeah. That's really what business ownership gives you.
Being able to attract, and that's one of the reasons I love LinkedIn so much, is that I can deliberately post things that I know will attract the kinds of people I want to work with and repel the people that I definitely don't want to work with. And so I know when I sit in front of somebody on a coaching session that I've got somebody that I'm about to work with that I'm going to enjoy myself talking to. And so it doesn't feel like work.
100
I'm earning good money and enjoying myself, and that's what for me life is all about, is enjoying what you're doing every day.
And it's why content that's too vanilla or inauthentic makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean there's a space for all sorts of content to an extent, and it all serves a purpose, but when you can be deliberately attracting or repelling people, you know that they're self-filtering, and they'll say, oh well, I would never work with you. Go, good. Like that's the point. No yeah, if you don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with you, so I haven't really lost anything. Crack on.
Yeah, 100%. Love that. You're qualifying people out. I think that's it. I think that's exactly what you're doing. And it's better to have half the market that are raving fans and half the market that are not keen at all than have everybody kind of mediocre or vanilla on you.
Oh god, yeah. And it doesn't mean you're not going to attract big brands. Like I worked with IKEA last week. It's not like it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's because there's actual people that work at IKEA who make these decisions.
Yeah, progressive thinkers as well.
100%. No, I love that. I wanted to ask you about profiles as well. The old LinkedIn shop window. So people's own profiles. Obviously, through content, we're quite often driving people to come and view our profile. You mentioned earlier that you got a notification about people viewing your profile way back when before you started posting.
Yeah.
How many people had viewed your profile on that notification? Can you remember?
Oh god, it's about 4. Yeah. Something like that. And I just had a logo. I had my business logo. I didn't even have like a photo.
That was it.
Yeah.
And how many people would view your profile in a 90-day period now?
Like 130,000.
Right, it's just insane.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. It's about 10,000 a week.
Yeah.
10 to 12,000 a week. Yeah.
There you go. So I think we can deduce from that people are buying into your profile as well when they land on it. So what do you think makes a good LinkedIn profile, a good shop window out there for anybody that's looking to update their actual page?
The main thing is getting people onto your profile. So having a photo that's public, which is a huge mistake that so many people forget. They don't even realize that their profile isn't set to, their picture isn't set to public. So checking that is a big deal. And having a headline that tells people why they should be visiting your profile, what they can expect. So getting those first 50 characters right that are seen with every comment, saying who you serve and what you do for them. So they, not just your job title. Because if you say, I had a client this morning who said managing director at Orbital 365. I was like, okay, but what do they do? Why am I clicking? What service am I getting to find out about? So tell me what the service does, not the name of it. And then using all the features, making sure it looks professional, have a banner, have your featured posts, have an about section that's customer focused, make sure you're getting some recommendations. And using that cover video as well. The cover video is such a great new tool, the 30-second intro video, so people can actually hear your voice and see you move and build a familiarity of who you are. But if you don't get your profile right, there's no point in inviting people there. They'll take one look and go, and carry on and never remember you. Whereas my profile sells my service. Because when people arrive on your profile, the newsfeed, we're in this mindset of, I shouldn't be there. I'm wasting time, I'm procrastinating. There's a guilt when we're scrolling through the newsfeed. But the moment we choose to visit somebody's profile, we're curious. We're in this buying mindset. We want to know what they do. We want to know what they offer. So that's the opportunity to really sell to them. So
100%.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really glad you mentioned recommendations, because I'm like a massive recommendations fan. I tell everyone to go and get recommendations, but people are kind of a little bit anti for some reason. But
I think it's crazy. One of the things that I always say to my clients is, if you feel like you can't get recommendations because people don't want their name attached to your profile, for example, maybe like a divorce lawyer, and people are a bit like, I don't really want to, you can just put them as featured posts. So use screenshots and turn them into featured posts and have their name censored out, because it's still credibility. But I think having people's recommendations and endorsements from existing customers, it's crucial social proof. Why trust you over the 1,000 other people on LinkedIn that do what you do? Because there's millions of LinkedIn coaches. Why me? Why would they choose me? And they're choosing me because they believe I can deliver what I say I can, and they're trusting that my clients are getting good results, and the recommendations endorse that. I've got 150 or something now, and it's one of the things that clients regularly cite when they come to me is, you had so many wonderful recommendations. How could I doubt you?
Yeah. So I had a senior client come to me once who said that he looked at my recommendations and then my comments, because his view was that my content was curated, but in order to really find out who I was, he looked at recommendations, comments, and he was a really senior junior. I thought that's really insightful that
I do the same thing.
That they were the two places. Oh, you do the same thing too?
I do the same thing when it comes to working with somebody. So someone messaged me recently asking about booking in with me, and I went to his comment section and saw that he'd posted a few "this isn't Facebook" nasty, like derogatory comments, and I went, sorry, you're not the kind of person I would want to work with. I don't want to support your brand.
Love it. There you go. So it does matter. It really, really matters. And recommendations definitely matter. When was the last time you booked a hotel without checking the reviews?
Exactly.
Years ago, right?
Especially when you're offering a premium service. Like my service is not cheap. I'm one of the more, I mean, I'm definitely not the most expensive, but I'm one of the more expensive. I'm probably the second most expensive LinkedIn coach in the UK, I think. And I'm probably the best. As from the competition that I know of, I know I'm getting better results. And, I don't say that lightly. I know the competition, and I know my results, and I know that I'm working with the competition's unsatisfied customers. So I don't have any qualms in saying that I am definitely within the top few LinkedIn coaches in the UK. And my recommendations support that. And I can happily say to any of potential clients, go speak to anyone in my recommendations happily. They'll tell you what you want to hear. They will give you an honest feedback. I don't have anything to hide. And I think if you're offering a premium service, especially, you need to have that credibility. You need to have that transparency, because people need to trust you before they hand over what can feel to some of them a large amount of cash.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned earlier about pricing as well, which I think is an interesting chat. Like, everyone underprices early, don't they?
I did. I charged £99 for an hour, which to me, for context, that was more than an entire day of work for transcribing. So for me, when I charged £99 for an hour, I was like, this this is incredible. I can't believe people are going to spend £99 for an hour of my time. Unbelievable. And within like a month, people were going, you're not charging enough, double it. And I went, oh, I could never charge that much. And now it's considerably more. So yeah, I think it's the imposter syndrome, isn't it? And not realizing how valuable knowledge is. For me, I was very much in the mindset of it's £99 for an hour of my time, not the knowledge that I can convey to you in that hour will allow you to secure new clients for the rest of your business life. And then when I started switching that mindset from it's not about the time, it's about the value of what knowledge you're giving them, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And so, but even now I still get in that mindset of I cannot believe people are giving me this much money for this amount of time. It's very much ingrained into me and I have to keep battling against myself for that.
Yeah, that's the money blockers that everyone has.
Yeah.
But it's also, you've helped 1,000 people now. So
yeah,
like this is why it's important to evolve your prices as you go, I think. Even we all start too low, everyone does.
Yeah.
But then as you grow, you are getting more data points, you are building your expertise, you are getting more efficient, you are unpicking.
And people take it more seriously.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems with £99 for an hour was that people were doing the training, but they weren't implementing the training because it was just £99. Now, when they make a higher investment, they actually put in the work. They're not going to go and spend, £599 or something and then go, oh, I'm not going to bother. Like they take it seriously and they do the work because they know that they've made a significant investment and that it is going to be very beneficial for their business.
Yeah. And that's that virtuous circle of people who align with you, paying a premium for your services, getting premium results, referring you to other premium people, and up it goes. Like that's the ideal. That's kind of the flywheel that you're on at the moment, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus I just don't have if I want to give a really good coaching session, I can only really do one a day because it takes quite a lot of energy and creativity in my brain when I'm talking to people. I'm like, I need to know about your story. I want to know about the content that's going to resonate with people. I need to review your profile. So although it's only an hour and a half training, it's usually a good sort of 4 hours of work. And so that's one a day. So I'm not going to go offering several a day. And I do sort of 3 or 4 a week. And I limit it to that because there's other business development stuff. I'm working on other projects. I'm obviously making time for content creation and engagement and supporting my clients. So, I had to put the price up so I could work less or do less coaching sessions. And yeah, I do get a better quality of client, not that they're better people, but they take things more seriously and they want to actually invest in their profile.
Love it. So what's next? Where are you going to go from here?
That's a good question because I'm not sure at the moment. I am thinking about introducing a sort of 6-week mastermind type offering to free up some more of my time so I can create more resources. I'd like to create more digital courses. I have got a very exciting project two very exciting projects I can't really talk about at the moment. I am seeking investment for a very, very big project. And it's a very, very big investment with a group of people, but I can't really say anything more about that. And I'm working with a couple of really big creators on a paid subscription newsletter that's going to be coming out, which should be incredible. And I'm actually really excited about it because there's not much. I don't think there's anything out there like this at the moment. So yeah, I've got a few things in the pipeline, but I'm kind of trying to coast for a little while. And it's been such a crazy couple of years that I'm trying to sort of take a step back now until Christmas and keep the coaching going. Got my digital course. I'm loving creating content and I'm not on this trajectory of the next thing, which I have been for 2 years. I'm trying to just take a breath for the next couple of months and then hopefully be re-energized for next year.
And stay in that intuition space you were talking about earlier, where you're creating the business that makes sense to you rather than that makes sense to everybody else. Like there's always people saying, take investment, scale, build offices, that's always going to be there. But you've got to decide what you want and how it fits.
I need to follow the joy. And for me at the moment, I'm not sure where that is. I think the biggest thing for me is because I don't come from like a corporate background or a big business background. I don't actually even know what's available to me. So for me, my ideal thing would be to be a creative consultant, to go into companies and come up with social media strategies for businesses based on what their what their audience needs to see, and what makes sense for that business to convey their humanity in the company. I would love to be involved in that somehow. Don't know if that's actually a business. Don't know if people would pay for that, but it's something that definitely interests me if it was. But yeah, for the moment, I'm just like, let's take a breather. Let's give myself a couple of months to just keep things ticking over, and hopefully come back next year really refreshed and raring to go with and having some more time for these other projects that I'm working on as well. So
that sounds like a really sensible plan, and I'm excited to see what you do next. And you should be buzzing about what you've done, honestly. Like, you've done so incredibly well. I mean that without any patronization. It's just awesome to have gone from where you were to where you have in such a short period of time. It's really inspirational stuff. I hope other people listening get inspiration to take the leap as a result. But for anyone who's listening who maybe wants to do a bit of work on their LinkedIn or engage with you, what's the best ways for them to do that?
They can find me on LinkedIn, obviously, Leah Turner. I'm the one with the rainbow in my name. I also have a Instagram where I post loads of tips, which is Leah Does LinkedIn, Leah without the H. And if you want to look at the coaching and the products, the content prompts, the webinars, it's all my digital course. That's all on leahturner.co.uk. And there's also a load of free resources that you can get from my Instagram or my LinkedIn profile as well. So helpful resources to get your profile sorted and create content ideas, all that kind of thing.
Sounds very useful. So make sure everybody goes and checks that out. And just a big thanks again. I know your time poor, so thanks for spending the time to share some knowledge today. It's been awesome.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew. It's been great to finally meet you.
Cheers.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Career Jump podcast with Andrew MacAskill. For more resources and information, just head over to the Career Jump website at www.execcareerjump.com to supercharge your job search and start making moves. Let's get to work.